Welcome to the Nicole Small Show, where we give you straight talk with no chaser. Here, we discuss issues from the White House to your house. And now, here's your host, Nicole Small.
My mic is muted. Okay, now you can hear me. Oh goodness. So I was talking about the approval from City Council from on Tuesday, last Tuesday, which was 4 days after the flood, and how no Tuesday before last because we didn't do the show last week. So 4 days after the flood. Hold on, FY Cliff, I'm gonna call you today. I gotta get you a yard sign and some stuff. But 4 days after the flood, City Council voted to approve appropriating $826 million, of which not one line item will go towards helping those people who have been impacted by the flood. Now, what you will hear is that it's not possible to use that money in that manner, but let me tell you how the money could have been. They still could have allocated money for that. They could have helped fill in the gaps from the deficit that we had from last year due to COVID and put more money into those areas, which would have allowed for the city to take the money that had already been appropriated from this year's budget, right? And some of that money could have went towards doing what? Helping those people in the flood. I was just on a call last week, and they have a district manager, a healthy grown black man, and another healthy grown black man sitting on a 2.5-hour call, listening to a conversation about what's going on in District 4 instead of being out there helping people. And they sitting up here saying that they asking for volunteers. Well, I'll be doggone if you asking for volunteers to come help clean up the doggone mess in the basement of a Duggan made disaster instead of y'all being out there to help the people. This is absolutely disgusting. But I'm gonna tell you something. I saw on the internet the other day on social. Was it on Facebook or did I see it in the news? I think it was on Facebook. If you go to Duggan's website, his Facebook page, you got black folks out there chinning and grinning and shaking his hand, giving him a photo op while he's talking about how he brought federal representatives in here to help the people who have been flooded. You are live from the pit, because not one of them went into anybody's house. They stayed outside. These people have not been assisted. This is just garbage. You just have a bunch of claims that have been submitted, and you picking up garbage that they have to haul to the curb. So what about these people who are on breathing machines, has pre-existing issues, or just physically are unable to be able to haul the stuff from their basement after another flood due to the failed leadership and neglect? That's why it flooded, due to the failed leadership and neglect of this city's administration. And how dare City Council approve for this money to go up a horse's for two? So you gonna help put $50 million in a doggone bike lane 26 million, 20 million to streetscapes and bike lanes and say, screw them people. And then Scott Benson has enough nerve to say, we need to have a very serious conversation around, you know, not funding those people, not funding those areas, basically to spend money for maintenance and sewage, filtering of sewage for those people, because it's costing money and it keeps flooding. Let me tell y'all something, District 3, and I'm not even gonna get upset today. You support that type of behavior, shame on you. And somebody over there ought to be running a clip of that. Since Duggan want to run a clip of trying to edit video and all of the stuff, and I think he's slick, since you just gonna focus in on me as if we didn't know that that was coming down the pipeline. If you think that that's gonna break me, you got another thing coming, Duggan. So since they like to run videos and everything, somebody ought to run a video clip from not last Tuesday to Tuesday before a meeting when the Scott Benson talking about how we should not assist those people over there in those flooding areas, and how city council and the mayor together have basically taken almost $1 billion and said, screw the people, because the money is not going to help you. Go and read it. Read it for yourself. We have Elena Harada on today. I want to bring her on because she has to get off by 8:30. Good morning, Elena.
Good morning. How are you?
Listen,
can you hear me?
Still frustrated by the way this city is going and how the people are neglected, but nothing else is new. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Sorry, I keep on getting these hacks on my screen. So I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty good. Can you hear me?
Did you know Vice President Harris is speaking today at a fundraiser for Gretchen Whitmer? Oh, she jumped off. She'll get back on. So back to what I was saying. Somebody needs to be running that clip and letting people know how they were very frustrated. I've already posted the appropriations and the approval for basically just neglecting and overlooking the people. We have still been working over there, getting some assistance for the people in Dickerson Manor and some other assistance. If you are able to assist either with helping us clean out the basements, we have pulled together some resources to start getting some people some help, especially those people. We're prioritizing the people who have the seniors, the veterans, the people with disabilities, pre-existing health conditions. We're kind of trying to prioritize them first. We don't have money to pay people, and that's another thing. How dare the city not even offer a program to help pay people to clean out people's basements when you have a ton of money? You want somebody to volunteer? And you just got handed over basically almost $1 billion, because I'm still looking for this other 180 million. Look at how they use us. And do you know, last Thursday before last, which was for 6 days after the flood, Duggan had enough doggone nerve to hop on the doggone press conference defending his damn new girlfriend with his new fiance. But you didn't say a word about this, talking about how, oh, the foundation didn't even have a bank account. They didn't have this, they didn't have that. City council, where you at? And no one from the city had even been over to Dickerson Manor until I had reached out to the chief of staff for Brenda Jones in the ombudsman office, and they were able to get on it and get some. And Linda Wesley, she did her job, but they were able to get on it and get someone from BC over there to do an inspection. But I want you to keep in mind, these people are still living in toxic fumes. They have about 3 to 4 fans each in each apartment running 24 hours a day, because that's really going to solve the problem, right? No other resources for these people. So what we're asking for, we have someone who's going to give them some food, but what would be great is if, as the food truck is going down the block to these residents, if we can have people walking along and then we pull food off the food truck and just walk it to their doors instead of having to walk back and forth from the corner to the corner. So if you can help do that, if you can help assist us, we have some union labor be involved with getting us some assistance too, and making sure you have on the proper mask to help clean out the basements. For those who can't go to the basements, if you can stand like at the doors and to help get it to the curb, that would be great. So just inbox me, or those of you who have my number, 313-451-2228, 313-451-2228. Just text me and let me know that you're available. We really want to get started tomorrow. Just an FYI, we're having another meeting today. If you know any other organizations with some resources, reach out, let us know. We can't wait for the city to come and get some volunteers to do some work where they should have really been paying some contractors. And here's another thing. These people gonna need more than just bleach in their basement. They need real deep cleaning. You don't hear anything about that. So you have a mayor who can take city resources, hundreds of $1,000s, and give it to his then girlfriend while he was married, foundation, and you can't find any money to pay to get these people some help. But if that's what y'all want to vote for, you go right on ahead, because he got a city council who's backing him up. A city council that after he has done that, still approved his request for his budget. You have a city council that still approved taking $800 and something million and didn't even ensure any investment into this issue right here. Go figure. Elena, good morning again. You have to unmute yourself.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I know you don't have a lot of time, so we could get down to it.
That's okay. I just wanted to share with you some of the things that are going on here. We have a lot of things going on here in the Latino community also that probably other people don't know about. And I just wanted to let people in on some of those things.
Okay, can you give us an update first on the flood, the status of the flood? Like, have you received any resources over there as a community? Have they picked up everything? Do you think the majority of people have received the assistance to clean out their basements?
I don't know about people receiving assistance, because I had a really bad flood in my basement, and I'm still cleaning out after that. I called in immediately to the water department and made a claim. And I wanted to just say this also. My car flooded in the street, and I called my insurance.
You were telling us that.
Pardon?
No, I remember you were telling us that the last time that you were on here. That's why I'm asking. Have you seen any groups out there to assist your community?
None at all. But I do want to say that we're supposed to be going to the water department and making claims about the things that we lost in our house. But there's going to be a really diminished level of health. Like you were saying, people don't understand how sick this can make you to have this mold in your basement. I have talked to several people who said that they still have all that stuff down in their basement and they needed some help cleaning stuff out. And I think there's little volunteer groups that are doing that, but there is no effort. There is no institutionalized effort to clear out people's homes. And that's going to be really, we're just coming off a pandemic here where people are already so compromised in their respiratory systems.
Yeah.
And so having mold down there, bleach is better than nothing, but it would be really good to have a systemic cleaning out. Now, the day of our regular trash day, which is Mondays, they surprisingly picked up all the debris on the curb.
Did you notice that? Did you notice how the trash pickup was on time?
And they picked up all this, like it was parts of your basement. It was walls, it was doors, it was construction debris. They picked
didn't leave
all
it on the
that
side like they usually do.
No, because they picked it all up because they don't want the image of it there. But
well,
there's other areas where
this is another thing I want you to share with can you share this with your community too? Because I reached out to We the People Detroit, thank you so much, Deb and Cecily, Monica, all of you, everyone over there for helping us out to get some filters to the people at Dickerson Manor, because no one has even tested the water. So I don't know about your neighbors, but what I'm hearing is some of the people in District 4 still have standing water in the basement.
Yep.
They still have. So just make sure you share that
Okay,
Um,
look, I want to just say this. If I didn't go to Home Depot and buy 2 pumps and hook them up to my hose
wow,
and
to
put it
get the
through the
water out,
backyard,
you would still have standing
I would
water.
still have that. I got that water out myself. That was,
Wow.
I did not have raw sewage, but I did that. And look at, because I can drive my car, use my Home Depot credit card, and get
Yeah.
back down here and do that. So many people had no capacity to do those things. It's
Okay.
just, and all that stuff is in your basement if you didn't have to do that. You know how many people can't do that. So
No, and the smell is so toxic and horrific. So if you could do us a favor, sometime this week, if you know of any of your neighbors who still need assistance, because the best way for us to organize is to compile a list, and we're gonna do whatever we can. Like I said, today I have another call at 9:30. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have like 5 groups who are working with us, and so we're gonna like get the logistics together. We'll start at one end of the block and we'll work down. But there is a group over in your community over in District 6 that is helping out too. So I'd
I
like to
do
get
have
that list
somebody
to
that I
them.
do have somebody specifically in mind who's can't make
Okay.
those basement steps. Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Let us know
Okay.
that. Okay. So I don't have you for that long. So I want to talk to you about, let's switch over to proposal P real quick. The community is really stepping up on their own. You don't have time to wait. As we always know, we're going to be outspent by the evil opposition, right? The corrupt opposition. And so talk about some of the steps that have been taken, excuse me, by the community to say, no, we are supporting this and that you are going to oppose the opposition, basically.
There's a couple of things I want to talk about. The thing they had over a few weeks ago at Local 58 at the
Mm-hmm.
IBEW hall. Raquel Castañeda Lopez was one of the speakers at that event. She was the only council person there in support of Prop P, and she spoke to the laborers and the people that were in the audience. And in the end, I ran on her and asked her to translate it into Spanish because I was Facebook living the event.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, something is going to happen here in District 6 that I want people to be aware of. Because Raquel is the only council member that has been actively supporting Prop P, actively
That's true.
supporting it, and her leadership in this community, I believe, is going to make people vote for it when they would not otherwise have even bothered to vote. Because
Mm-hmm.
she has explained the prop. I'm going to give it to her. She did a good job on this
Mm-hmm.
proposition. She has done a very good job on this proposal and bringing people along. And I think that the malaise that you see across the city of not having any get out the vote because Duggan doesn't want anybody to know there's an election is going to be different in District 6 because there's city council elections where historically this is the first time there's only been Latinos on the ballot. Only Latino candidates are on this ballot. Say what you will about that whole way that went, but there's still nobody else on the ballot but Latinos. And 2, Raquel has given strong voice to supporting Prop P. That in itself, plus they're supporting that group is basically DSA are supporting Denzel for city clerk because he's part of the same organization.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of juice behind them, and I believe that if they have a good turnout, it's going to be the only organized turnout in favor of Prop P across the city. And it's going to come from this community, from District 6. And so I want to just say that as many differences as I've had with this small little group, I am really proud to see how they have stepped up for Prop P. And
No, the activism and the engagement is definitely something to be recognized. I don't denounce that, but I still do have an issue with the way it rolled out. It compromised. Listen, it's going to be an issue for us in the future. That's just the bottom line. If we allow for this to take place in the manner that it is, it's going to be an issue. The way that Raquel and them got together and they did this to endorse a candidate, I still stand 100% behind.
I know.
Period.
I don't like it a bit either. I think it
Yeah,
was really
and I know that it's going to
Yep.
compromise the interest of the supermajority of Detroiters and grassroots, but that's a
Yep.
whole nother issue. But I've
I
never
didn't like the way that went either. It was
opposed.
sneaky and underhanded, and I really did not like it. They say that's not corruption. That's cronyism. It's just as bad. That I agree with you on that. I agree with you
And if the
completely
young
on that.
lady, now this is what I'm hearing, but I don't even want to get off into her. We'll talk about District 6 in that election later. Okay, so let's get on to Prop P. You guys had, so community has purchased T-shirts, purchased their own lawn signs, and FYI, we have our own lawn signs in now. At least I'm not going to tell you how many because I know some of the opposition is watching, so they'll go double down. So we have a lot of yard signs in. The goal is to pick them up in a U-Haul today. We need, listen, let me say this. This is what we need. We need some of you who can take, whether or not you could keep 20 in your garage, 50 in your garage, let us know so we can have them dropped off. We want staging stations in every district. And so we'll have, definitely there are a couple of other locations where we'll park, and I'll post the times and the date that people can come in their area to a like a local rec center or something and come and pick them up. We have more than enough literature. It's very simplistic. It's not as detailed as the other piece of literature, so people can understand why they should support Proposal P. We have all of that in today. So I will be posting later today. But again, if you don't mind taking on some of the yard signs and a stack of literature so people in your neighborhood or in your district can come pick some up, that will be great. Also, Elena and I need you to help me kind of like 2 places. She got kicked off again. So we need at least 2 to 3 places in each district, maybe where we can have staging locations so everyone can pick this information up. I really appreciate, I commend, I applaud all of the work that the community has been doing for the People's Charter. You know, you didn't have time to wait for us to go back and forth about being defunded by the city. You stepped up to the plate and you took on this issue to push back. And I'm going to tell you, that's real activism. That's real advocacy. That's real grassroots work. But as I have stated before, you know, we have more than enough yard signs. It's going to take a lot of work to actually distribute these yard signs. But we have a lot of them. Because we have a lot of them. That's Elena trying to call on, but she can't call me on Facebook, and I'm on Facebook. But we have a lot of yard signs that we are going to need to get out, and we have a lot of literature that has been printed, a 1-pager that we need to get out as well. So again, let us know. You could reach out to myself, someone else on the charter, but we really need to organize around that. I want to make sure that we as a commission want to make sure that every district is covered. We don't want you to say that there's nobody in your district that doesn't have any of this information. Let's flood the streets with this vote yes on Proposal P. That's exactly what we need to do. We know that they have the billboards. We know that they have the commercials. So what? I'm going to tell you something. I have been talking to people for weeks. When I explain to them what's going on, I haven't received opposition from one person. When you give them the facts, I have not received opposition from one person. People are tired of being taken advantage of. The majority of the responses that I get is that no one ever comes and talks to us and really tell us what's going on or shows us, you know, the language that is actually in these proposals. They are fed up. And they really want to make a well-informed decision. I know you got the folks on them commercials and Miss Bernice, but she been messy, so that's nothing new. Remember when she was all with Benny and then she flip-flopped as soon as Duggan won, and she was taking the same day taking a picture with him. I don't expect anything different from people like her. You got a woman on there who lives in an apartment building talking about she don't want her property taxes to go up. You don't pay property taxes living in an apartment building. You know, but this is the way that they undermine our intelligence and exploit the ignorance of people. Because see, and again, when I say ignorance, we're all ignorant to something because we are not knowledgeable. People don't know that this lady lives in an apartment building to connect it to. That she not telling the truth because she not paying property taxes. You understand? And that's what happens. This is what happens. They pick people who look like us to go against us. And these billboards are all over the place. And let me say something about that Reggie Reg. You got a fool who couldn't spell his name right to get on a doggone ballot. You add up somebody, I bet you he has never read that 120-page charter that when he was on the doggone commission. He was lying on 9:10 a.m. on Horace Sheffield's show, so I hear, claiming that we were throwing chairs at the meeting. See, we need to show up in the right way for people like that in the community. All of them who's sitting up here lying. Horace, all of them need to understand how we not going to tolerate that. But Reggie Reg, out of all people, you've been scratching at the door to get back in Duggan's good graces. He didn't support you for state rep or anything else. And so now that you could get a few dollars, because I'm quite sure you're not getting nowhere near as much as the other ones, but now that you could get a few dollars, you're going to jump ship. Now, let me tell you, somebody told me that Reggie Reg is working on Virgil Smith campaign. I hope that that's not true. I hope that that's not true. Because the reason why I'm saying that is, oh, hold on. There's Elena. I hear that Reggie Reg is working on Virgil Smith campaign in District 4. I hope not, because I haven't heard that Judge Virgil Smith is opposing Proposal P, but that wouldn't be a good look. That's all I have to say. If you got Reggie Reg on here who going all across the city with his simple self, telling folks to vote. No, he hasn't even read our revisions, let alone read the revisions that they revised when he was on the commission. And as disrespectful as he too is to Black women, I wish I would. I wish I would. And quit welcoming these people in the community with open arms. That's what you need to stop doing, all of them, the whole list of them. Especially you got enough nerve to get up on commercials, to get on the radio, to tell all these lies, to disparage the work of a group of people. The majority of them look like us. And this is what you want to do? You want to discredit the work of the people of Detroit? Let him run for something else and see what happens. Shame on you. Shame on you. You shouldn't even sign his petitions. And anytime you see him or any of them someplace trying to get some signatures, you should govern yourself accordingly. And make sure you let all the people know who petitions that they signing. And I mean that on everything. Reggie Reg. Who would even listen to him? Horace on there, not telling the truth, telling people we still walking around here telling people that we trying to elect 40-something people. Where does it say that? Where does it say we're going to give people free water? But see, Duggan couldn't build up this army if we started dismantling this army. That's all I'm going to tell you. You need to make it tough for him to be able to start signing, recruiting people for his army. That's what needs to happen. Go ahead, Elena, now that you're back.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need to really start confronting those faces in those ads. We need to confront them. We know where they are. They're around us every day. And we made a big mistake by letting people on the city council show up after they agreed to the consent agreement, much less get elected. Mm-hmm. So we know who they are. We need to be really confronting them, and we haven't done that. Everybody's too polite.
Challenge them publicly and make them support what they're saying, because they never can, because it's not in the revised charter. These things that they're saying, it is literally not written, and they need to be exposed for the frauds that they are.
You know, yesterday a couple passed by my house because I have lawn signs out there for you, for Anthony Adams, and for Prop P. Those are my 3 lawn signs. I also want to add, in all of Corktown, mine's only any sign of any kind, because these people are very polite and quiet for apartheid. So there's no signs of any other candidates at all. Mine's the only one. So this Black couple was passing by my house. I would say retiree age, And the woman driving slowed down and asked me about these new developments that are going up. And she said, I thought everything was historic here. And I said, it depends on who you are. If I try to add something, they're going to give me a ticket. But they're putting up brand new houses made out of freight cars over here.
Yeah.
They're selling them for $300,000. And I call it housing for white people. And that's all the very expensive housing. So the man in the car said he was going to support Prop P, but he's not going to because he's very worried about his pension. And I said, have you read the charter? And he said, no, but I've seen the ads. And I said, please read the charter. Please read the charter. And I could tell that the woman the woman who was driving was very astute. And she said, I'm voting yes on P. She lives down the street, right down. She also lives in Duggan. And so but the man was looking at me like, how you can tell when somebody's waking up to something, like, why would you say this? He's looking at the Anthony Adams sign. He's looking at the Nicole Small sign and the yes on P. And we know everything that's going on. So when people know that you're telling them something true, you can see the light go on. You can really see the light go on. And I felt like that happened, but that was just a couple driving by my house. That was like, there are a lot of people that
how the lady was
probably 6 signs. There's at least 6 billboards around here that say Proposition P is a problem.
And you know why they're concentrating in that area? Because they feel that the people over there, because it's one of the lower voting districts, that they're more easily manipulated. But you know what? We also need to have another conversation about these people, who are flip-flopping about whether or not they support Proposal P or not. So yesterday, on another radio show, they had 2 candidates running for at-large. Coleman Young and Mary Waters. Mary Waters was very firm and emphatic about how she's supporting Proposal P. But when it came to Coleman Young, he did a dancing. He danced all around the issue. And I know for a fact I was at 2 other candidate forums where, because everyone was saying that they supported Proposal P and he knew the audience wanted it. Oh yeah, yes, I support P. Now all of a sudden it's whatever the people want. And then I saw a post that you made saying that he was standing with Duggan in the opposition.
Yep. And and I wrote right on it, shame on you, Coleman Young. I also want to add the names of the people who are selling us out are names of people who have historic legacies of progressive politics.
No. I want you to explain that, because I want to make sure I'm clear. Were the people that he was standing with, were they at that time talking about opposing P, or there were just people in the group who opposed Proposition P?
I believe it was a press conference to oppose Prop P. It was Duggan.
Oh, I'm gonna double check that.
Yeah, it was.
I don't care nothing about him being my opposition in the race. You're not about to sit up here and manipulate the people about this proposal. And so you want to jump ship and you really against us. And if you for it, you're going to say you for it. If you not, you're not. And that's a problem.
People do not vote for another city council person except Nicole. That's what I'm asking for people to do. Because there's other candidates in that race who will split up that other vote. There isn't another candidate running for at-large that supports Prop P. It's only you.
This is ridiculous. Don't have another. But this is ridiculous how people think that they can do this to our community. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to bring on Brenda Hill as well. But go ahead, Elena. You were telling us, about what you're going to say in District 6.
Yep. Okay. I do want to say that District 6, I believe, I could be wrong here. I'm not going to bet on it, but I believe that District 6 is going to carry this. It's going to carry Prop P. I don't agree with everything that would be great, but it might happen, and it's the only thing that's going on collectively from a city council person. So you just have to know the council can make a difference if they want to.
No, I definitely think that I know that they can make a difference if they want to, and that's the problem. Is this what they really and truly want to do? So now that we're seeing 4 people leave, Hopefully we could get rid of some more, but people gonna have to be real clear. And you know what I tell people too? Stop feeling like you have to vote for somebody. What we tell you to do is to vote, and to vote your interest. If it's not somebody on there that's not in your best interest, then you shouldn't vote for them.
Okay,
And that's
just as a parting shot, I want for people to really pay attention that this is historic, that 4 people are leaving that easy ass job that you don't have to do anything to do, with a free car and a huge salary and all kinds of perks. Why would you leave that unless you're in trouble? That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, it was mighty abrupt. Let me say that, but yeah. I don't know. I know you have to go, Elena. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, 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 good. Hold on. How do I get her off? Now I have you twice. How did that happen? All right, there you go. We talked about what's going on with the flooding in District 4. So I was just saying how the mayor and the city's administration is asking for volunteers. So we have a huge population of people who have been neglected. We also have some people claiming, you know, who are running for office. It just amazes me how, you know, they've been over there and they want to help the people over here in these areas. But the only thing we saw you doing was standing up for a photo op. And listen, it's hard running a campaign. I'm not saying everybody has the time. Don't get me wrong. And that's not what I'm pushing for. But stop this foolishness. We have people who are living with sewage in their homes. We have people whose health is definitely compromised. You know, we have people who are just clearly being taken advantage of. And I don't think that we need any more of that. And I also find it quite insulting how a city council can pass the appropriations for more than $800 million and not ensure that at least some portion is allocated to assist those people. That in itself is unconscionable. It is unconscionable, but this is the leadership that we have, and we need to have a real conversation about how do we get our community to understand that they deserve better. Also, another thing that we talked about, I just put it out there. Yesterday, Coleman Young danced around the issue on Proposal P, but he too was talking about how, you know, he was over there in Jefferson Chalmers. Now, I know a lot of them people in Jefferson Chalmers, and that's one name that I haven't heard of. And so if he gonna dance and gonna flip-flop on Proposal P, I don't put nothing past nobody, and I don't care. This isn't about the election. This is about people who mistreat and misinform our people and manipulate them. I'm sick of it. I don't care who you are. I am just really sick and tired of it. I would hope that he is not switching sides for Proposal P, because I know I have heard him say that he supports it. But if that's what's going on, shame on him. Well, I don't care what the reason is.
I never heard him say he was for Proposal P. I've only heard that he was against it. Now, he doesn't come right out and say he's against it, but the words that he used, you know that he's against it. I mean, it's really a yes or no question. Are you for it or against it? That's it. That's what's on the ballot. Are you for it or against it? That's it. So all these extra words and dancing around the English language to use this adverb and that adjective for what? It's a yes or no question. And when you find someone using too many words, it's some bullshit. It's kind of confusing. And then they don't want to come and say. I just want to say something before we get off of that. When the pandemic hit, this administration jumped out and spent all kinds of money. They had no idea where this had come from and how we're going to fix it. But however, we were sending the tests out to New Jersey at whatever cost, because we still don't have that. But we do know we were over budget by $300 million. He opened up the state fairgrounds, and anybody in this state could come in and get their testing. It didn't matter how much it cost and how much came out of the budget. But when it comes to the lives and health of Detroiters, there's no money for that. We have to wait appropriations, we got to somehow find it. We don't have Alexis and all of them from every department standing on corners trying to
No, where's that new chief of staff? Where's that Trisha lady? We haven't seen her except for the news article when she was appointed, and we paying her how much? Where is she at?
Where's any of them at? I mean, I didn't understand why they were out at the state fairgrounds in the mud.
Yeah.
Where's the health department? I mean, this is the failure of this community, and I've been talking about this since the very beginning of this administration. Where's the health department? You're not. I'm asking that of your viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Health department. I mean, physically, where it is. Because most people do not know. They don't even know where to reach out to help. There's no coordinated effort for people to know. And I would like to know, why isn't anybody calling for the firing of Gary Brown?
That would have been done that Saturday morning. They wouldn't even have waited till Monday. When the flood started on Friday night, any other city, it would have been done that Saturday morning. And I've been saying that.
When we had,
but you have Councilman Roy McAllister singing his praises and applauding him. Let me tell you something. He did that on that Tuesday before the meeting started, and I want to just make sure I let you know that you're doing such a great job. While people got feces flooding, they sitting around, floating around in their house. And this is what he said. Let me tell you something, people. You better stop it. You better stop this type of behavior.
Not Jefferson, just Jeff Chalmers. They have it every week. Anytime there's a little rain, their stuff gets backed up. Right? Yeah. There should be an ongoing effort for that area. But throughout this city, there's not a district that does not have flooding all over. My cousin, who I just found out lives in District 6 when he lived in District 7 forever. Water was 1.5 feet high. Everything in his basement is gone, right?
Wow.
Then he paid that $30-something a month for DTE so that his water
furnace and everything could be
repaired. They did come out, but they said they can't repair it. So all that money he's been putting into that for years, thousands.
Wait a minute. So that repair program that they have, they won't fix the furnace of the house. They won't replace the hot water tank either.
They won't replace it.
Oh, wow.
To fix it. Now there is another program, and it's higher, but because it's so much higher than the $30-something program, barely anybody has it. But Duggan has put out this saying, if the owners of the house, which the land bank has people living in Peru owning these houses.
He's going to charge the landlords $250 a day that they don't clean up the mess. But this is where I'm gonna go. This is where I'm gonna go with this. If we can't get a group of landlords, I don't care if they investors, to rally around shutting him down, shame on them. Then you're gonna get what you asking for.
And listen,
first of all, Detroiters are only treated the way we allow ourselves to be treated. Now that's the biggest point.
Now, what I don't have time is to hunt down owners that don't live here.
I'm not gonna hunt them down either. They received the memo.
The city, the land bank should stop anything they're doing, selling one more thing, whatever it is they're doing, and get out here and get these basements and people's houses cleaned up and cleared out. And then you find the owners and you charge them. Send them fines.
Well, where are the district managers? That's where I get confused. I've been over there in District 4, and you know what? The only district manager that I saw was the guy Rod, and then somebody else who works with DWSD, 2 healthy grown Black men, and they sat on a District 4 call for more than 2.5 hours. I haven't seen any footage, and I haven't heard anything about district managers going into these houses. But now let me say what I like about district managers. Okay. They started off as blight busters, right? Then they became community organizers. Now they're just full-fledged appointed council people, but I don't see them out here doing anything. That's interesting.
And let's count how many.
And you paying them the same amount that you pay your city council person, FYI.
And let's count how many people that we're paying top dollar for. That's in each district that you haven't seen over these past 2 weeks. So you have a city council person, you have their staff. I'm just gonna say the chief of staff. So that's 2. You will see Stephen Muhammad out here now.
And you'll see Linda Wesley.
Well, that's Brenda Jones.
Yeah.
But you don't see who's ever in District 7 and taking over that. Is that Janae Ayers supposed to have District 7 now?
Her and Brenda Jones are supposed to split it up. So Janae Ayers, yeah.
4 or 5, all the rest of them, you don't see anybody out here. You don't even know who their chief of staff assistant is. But that's 2. We're gonna
well, let's talk about District 4. Go ahead.
Let's just go city council, the city council person and their chief of staff. That's 2. You have a district manager and their staff, which could be up to 5 people, and assistant district manager. So we just go add them as 6.
No, that's 3. No. Let's be clear. For each district, is 3 people who are so affiliated with district managers. District manager, deputy, and not a business liaison. Right. So that's 3. 3 times 7 is 21. Keep going.
I'm just saying each district. Just each district.
But my point is 3 times 7 is 3 in each. 3 times 7, that's 21 bodies.
From the council, so that's 5 times 7.
Okay.
And then we're supposed to have neighborhood police officers, 2 from each precinct that should be out here helping folks out, right? So that's what we up to 7.
Well, I ain't gonna put that on them because they already stretched in for crime, but I'm gonna listen to you.
Ask anybody on here, do they know who that neighborhood police officer is and when the last time they saw
I know, but I'm just saying, I don't know if I support us taking people who's supposed to be keeping neighborhoods safe to cleaning our houses when I know that you just named 35 people alone. You just named 35. And all of these districts don't even have a problem, so they can go over there.
We need them to identify where the problem is.
No, you need the city to identify where the problem is because they're supposed to do the intake. Nobody's calling 911.
That too. I'm just saying. They ain't stopping the crime. They could be helping.
Yep. All right, Brenda. All right. They're not stopping the crime, so they could be helping clean out the houses. All right.
All these block club and association presidents, groups, all that stuff that kiss Duggan's ass, where are they now? They should be mapping their areas. And let me say,
listen, it's people out here who still love him. It's people out here who still love some of these city council people. And I'm saying these are the people who have been impacted. And I want to highlight something. I want people to think about this seriously. It was 2 weeks ago that people's homes were flooded with sewage and feces and water. So now that's going up the wall. I just want you to process this. We have people who are inhaling these toxic fumes because, again, it's going to take more than bleach to get rid of that, okay, to do a proper deep cleaning. But some people can't even get to the deep cleaning because the stuff is still sitting in their homes, which makes the toxins more potent, right? But I want you to think about somebody who could barely get up and down the stairs to even wash their clothes. But even if you're pretty mobile and you know you don't have as many physical challenges, it takes a lot of strength to clean out a basement full of stuff. When you start talking about carrying appliances and things like that, so what are these people supposed to do? We have literally allowed for this mayor and this city council to allow these people to live in these conditions. Do you not understand how their health is going to be compromised? And I'm serious about it. I'm saying they have literally single-handedly in this one swoop, they knew it was coming. And let me tell you, I got word that there were some people who tried to get into the station for the water to open the make sure the what's the name at the Counter Creek was working, and they were locked out. We know the drains were not all open. I want you to think about something, how intentional this is. They may not have, now they knew that the rain was coming that day because I knew the day before they had a flood warning out.
Right.
On Thursday, there was a flood warning on the weather. But do you ever wonder how stuff like this happens and what is wrong with our people that we dismiss it? Listen, there's a person over there in a senior home who lost their oxygen machine because of the water damage. We have someone else who's on a constant breathing machine of some sort in their home. We have several people with respiratory issues. These are our people. These are our people in our community. And we have an entire administration that is silent about this and have enough nerve to ask for some volunteers. And let me tell you, FEMA did not come into the people's houses, Brenda. Right. I just want you to know that. They only went to certain people's porches. They were walking up and down some of the blocks, a very few, right? They did, and we were told by Duggan's administration, rather, that they were going to go into some of these homes and to take a look at the conditions so they can make a decision. The only thing that they did was go up on some people's porches and did some intake from there. I don't know if FEMA is going to decide to bring relief to the city of Detroit, and they haven't even taken any pictures, because before that's always been the experience, right?
But they could. Don't expect FEMA to be in here tomorrow. I remember when there was some flooding, I believe it was 2003 or 2004. And it took months for FEMA to come in and start assessing people's homes and stuff. And it wasn't bad as it is now. And we didn't have the kind of heat we have now, which is the growing of black mold spores. And not just that, you have to take down all that wall and stuff to get rid of that. I don't know who has those kind of people able to do that and do it properly. I know a lot of
people. They're only taken down in Dickerson Manor. They only took down the lower 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches.
See? Now what's going on?
And that's only if you can move your furniture away from the wall.
Listen, this is what happens on a plantation. And I'll say it again. If it wasn't for Lincoln needing the troops, we'd still be on a plantation right now. Because we're sitting back and these are the folks that watch your show all the time. I got a new show today, but listen to my show and stuff. And then they do nothing. They just call and complain. What we need to do is several things. We're going to have to expand our base of voters. We're going to have to confront the traitors that are in our family. And those are the folks that don't vote. Those are the ones holding us hostage. If you can't make your children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews vote, then shame on you. Shame on you. It does not take that much. Your ballots can come to your house, which we're going to talk about, that they're not really coming. But it's really just a couple hours out of your day, out of your year, to go vote. One in August and one in November. That's all it takes. And I would not speak to anybody in my family. In fact, I don't speak to those who won't vote. They turn around and say it ain't worth it. You're not going to get a dime, a conversation, a macaroni or cheese from me if you don't vote. And
that's right.
And everybody can understand this.
So let's talk about but this is my point. How is it that during an election year, you have people who have been enduring these conditions for 2 weeks, and the most that the administration has done is to send somebody out to walk down the street? That's what I want people to process. We have literally gone backwards over a century to be treated this way, and it's during an election year. I don't know if people are processing what actually is happening right now. But and it's all kind of people. Now, this is one thing where I'm gonna say, the majority of them being impacted are black, but it's some white folks too who living over there. Now, I want to see how big mad they gonna get as well. But think about that. And it only takes, I think it only takes, am I right, Brenda, maybe 48 hours for mold to produce or to grow. So they've been sitting in it for 2 weeks.
Some people still sitting in water. Some people's water came up the basement steps, so that means their floors and their carpet is inundated, and maybe their furniture upstairs is inundated with that and can't move. We just got $400 and some $1 million.
Yeah, 13 million.
Let Biden sue us for misusing the money. That money
but can I say this? But this was my point earlier. We don't have to misuse the money. So let's say you have let's take the water system for instance. Say that there is $100 million that's allocated to go towards maintenance of the water system. All right. And because you didn't generate as much revenue last year, you couldn't perform those services to the degree that was needed. The money that came from Biden simply says, if you have experienced any loss due to COVID, you can use the money for that. So you take $100 million out of the ARPA funds, you put it towards the money that you had allocated for the water, for the maintenance of the water and sewage system, and you take that money out the general budget and you go and fix some of these doggone the lead heads on the doggone pipes and help some of these people. That's what you do. You take money out of neighborhood improvement, out of the general budget that's been allocated, and you use that towards helping paying people to clean out their houses, and you take the other money to supplement it out of the ARPA funds. See, this is bull crap. I like how creative this administration can always get with using money for everything else. They take federal, listen, and I'm not worried about Biden, because nobody was worried about Biden doing anything when this proposal, wait a minute, when this proposal in money, we were supposed to get $90 million, right?
Right.
And we only have 70 million now going towards rehab. Nobody's worried about how the mayor took $365 million of federal funds. Now that was before Biden, but he still did it with federal dollars and was supposed to be allocated towards demolition, and come to find out that the work was not performed. Duggan not worried about misusing federal dollars, because he been misusing federal dollars. So go ahead and use it for the people.
And I don't care where he gets it and how he gets it. He can take that $400 and worry about Biden suing us later. If I doubt Biden gonna do it, but that's what you do when you care about your house and your people. If this happened at my mama's house, I don't care what I was about to buy.
That's right.
That money and anything else, and we could get to eating rice until my mama's house is all right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's how we're.
And let me tell you something else. Those people living over there with them streetscapes, they need to lock arms. Like what was that? What was that back in the day? Was it Hands Around the World? Remember when everybody, whatever that was called, they better lock arms around them streetscapes and tell them you're not gonna bust up another piece of concrete and put another slab of cement in the middle of the doggone street to inconvenience us and to decrease safety and compromise safety before you go and help us get some of this stuff cleaned out of the house. Like, people need to stop being so passive.
I don't care about rocks around parks. I don't even care about parks. I don't care about no greenscapes, streetscapes, bike lanes, lights, all that stuff. My people are literally dying. And their town is walking around in a $200 monogram shirt and a $500 sweater and $1,000 Gucci shoes. That is crazy. And nobody's calling for his firing. He should be scared to walk the streets, as well as this administration, all of them, city council, any of them. If I don't see James taking them in some jogging pants and dirty boots, there's something wrong. How the heck driving past and smelling and knowing this crap is going on, and you go to the city county building every day smelling sweet? This is not the way you handle a crisis. And you know what? The first thing is that back in that flood, we got $300 and something million to fix those pumping stations. What happened to that? What happened to that money? But the pumps didn't work again. It's time out. Folks that are listening to this show, you tell everybody that they got, listen, you know my circumstances. You know my circumstances. I got money for it. I got money for it. We need signs. We need calls. We need TV shows. Call me. We need at least 50 people to come with $100. I got my 100. I got my 100. For us to get in this game, we are not in this game. I appreciate everybody who's trying, but they can't be the only ones helping.
But that's always the issue, though, is that we don't have a concentrated we don't have enough people concentrated and focused on being consistently focused on opposing the opposite, this attack on us, right? To fight the attack on us. But I wanted to point out one thing too. You know, another thing that really just stood out for me is the fact that what the mayor's office proposed in appropriations out of this ARPA money was to only put $20 million into home repair. So when we came together a couple weeks ago as a community from all different districts, we said we wanted $200 million into home repair. Like, wouldn't those dollars justify fixing some of the drainage problems that we have at the house, for the lead heads that go right into the house, so we wouldn't have so much water back up? Why isn't anybody from council saying that? Not one. And they approved this money. People have to understand who's really against them. It's not just Duggan. It's not just some of the people in his administration. Okay, you need to look at both levels of government. Both the executive branch and the legislative branch are working together collectively to destroy our community, period. And we built this community. That's the thing. I don't care how many construction trucks they bring in, Brenda. It's the people who built the community.
Right. I was over there at Michigan and Trumbull last week. There was a press conference. We had about 100 people there. No channel 24720 even bothered. Sent out a beautiful press release and didn't even bother to come. Period. That's right, Michigan and Trumbull, where that, I don't remember what their name was, the Tiger Stadium Historical Society. They wasn't letting
right across the street. Yeah, where Pal is now, where Sheila Cochran and that Ingrid White trying to get them folks put out of there.
There is now apartments over there, 2 bedrooms for less than 1,000, with less than 1,000 square feet, over $3,600 a month. There are, right next to that are unremarkable townhouses. I mean, they're just a door with the upstairs, period. Nothing ostentatious about it. $600,000 all full. $600,000. That's what each townhouse costs. Right across the street, there are more apartments that were old warehouses. They're more than $3,600 for 2 bedrooms. And then there's Pal, who started this whole thing, because they weren't letting anybody over there until Pal came along. And they said, okay, we're going to let the kids in. They're trying to put Pal out now.
That's what I just said, Sheila Cochran and Ingrid White.
Yep, trying to put Pal out. So we're going to have to stop letting the parks in, because when you sign off on that, that's gentrification, and you can't even afford that craziness. It's not like the streets are even safer. And then if you go into the community of Southwest Detroit, it's more and more and more of that. Right there. And at the same time, we have people a couple blocks down that basements are full of feces, water and stuff, and nobody's helping. Nobody's helping. They just took a historic park, overpriced it, priced all the Detroiters out, whatever Detroiter you want to get out of that, and they won't even help the people 2 blocks down. It is a crazy place of Detroit. We have allowed, we sick boss. People have Master's house, and then it's our fault because we live in shanty tax. And we have people who are sitting on this call and all these other calls and not saying, this is crazy. We pay more taxes than people in California and New York.
Well, we surely aren't getting the services. So let's switch over. Let's switch over to the piece about voting. So I have some concerns because this campaign, it's every day, just about for me.
All day.
I'm concerned about the people. I'm concerned about the people who. I'm concerned about everyone who hasn't received their ballot. But let me tell you what really stands out to me is that we have people who have been voting absentee for decades, right? So those are the people who we know are definitely on the permanent absentee roll, right? Then you have some other people within the last 2 years, they've signed up to be on there, but I told everybody this weeks ago, you need to call back. If you signed up to be on a permanent absentee roll here recently and you haven't received your ballot, call the clerk's office because they're going to tell you that you need to reapply. So let's just focus on those people who have been receiving absentee ballots for decades and still haven't received them. So I want to give you one good example, Brenda. So my campaign manager received his absentee ballot a month ago. Do you know his wife didn't get hers until Thursday? Now they've been married for 100 years. They both been voting. He received his last Thursday. I mean, she received his over a month ago. Like his is in, registered. They sent you the confirmation. She just received hers last Thursday. And I'm getting this from so many seniors and there's not a senior home we don't go to where people haven't received their absentee ballot. And when you start talking about people who have been voting absentee for at least 10 years or more, and now I think that to a degree that works in our favor because then we still can make sure that they're voting right for the right candidates and they're voting right on Proposal P. Because I want to point this out. There isn't a place that I haven't gone to, which today is going to be real interesting where I have to go to. But there isn't a place that I haven't gone to where once we tell them what's in Proposal P, once I talk about my platform and what's really going on in City Council, that they don't support Proposal P and actually support this campaign if they didn't know about me before. So I think that it's an opportunity for us to get some more votes on Proposal P. And so what do you think about that? Because, and also, Duggan did another survey yesterday. He did another phone call survey. It's about mayor, Proposal P, and at large. And then last week, Wednesday, there was one that was done about mayor. That was one you could do on, they send you the link. And also last week, it was phone calls going out telling people to vote no on Proposal P. Right. So let's talk about this piece with people not getting their absentee ballot.
Well, I was out.
Do you think the voter turnout is going to be low?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I was out at ordinary businesses in the Cass Corridor and Livernois in downtown area. And when people heard my name, people that were just eating there, but people who were working at those establishments was like, "Oh, are you the Brenda Hill that walked out in front of Janice Winfrey's house? I haven't gotten my ballot." I'm telling you, over 100.
Remember that.
When one person heard who I was, other people came and said they haven't gotten their ballot. And someone said the same thing about you. They said they got theirs like 3 or 4 Saturdays ago, and their husband child didn't get theirs, and they live in the same house, haven't gotten theirs yet. And so it's a mess. And I said when Janice Winfrey voted to put Proposal P on the ballot, I said there's something else coming because she is messy. She did that up front and doing this mess later. Most people are not even looking for their ballot now because they usually get it the week they're released, 45 days out. So what senior citizen is looking in their mail for their ballot 4 weeks later? That's not going to happen. But also it means that the candidates were going to have to put out enough mailers, which is the highest cost of a campaign, the mailers, to make anybody know that there's an election. Janice Winfrey usually sends her newsletter out the week before the
Yeah,
election.
I asked about that. I've been asking about that, and they said no, they haven't received anything. But you know what else? She's not putting her face on it. But you know what? Let me back. I can't remember. I see a few vote billboards, but they're not the ones she usually does with her picture on them. But you know what? It's not the general election, so let me just let that go to the side. She'll probably wait to the general election.
But so yes, nobody knows there's an election. This proposal P, that's part of why the push is so hard to vote no, because it's bringing on the information about there's an election. So if more people are going to go out to vote, and I want to jump back to what I was saying about numbers. Mike Duggan is getting 12% of the registered voters, no matter what. He could hang their grandchildren in campus marshes, and they're still going to vote for Mike Duggan. 12% of people
just like Trump.
Yes. And if 20% or less, which is usually the number for a primary election come out, he wins, and everything he wants wins. That only leaves 8% or less for the grassroots or anybody else. Those are the only votes you're going to get. We have to expand this. We have to have at least 30% or more votership. We have to have that. And that's why you have to confront the traitors in your house and hold them accountable. And we did vote 50% for the white man, Joe Biden. We voted for him.
But also we always anticipate, right? Those of us who really pay attention to politics, we typically anticipate a low voter turnout for the local primary election. Well, all of our local elections are a lot lower than, but the primary election, which is sad because all politics is local, and who's representing you in your home is definitely more important. I don't care than who's representing you at the federal level. It's just as important. So we know that.
Biden putting all out of Afghanistan has nothing to do with us. We wouldn't know if we were in or out of Afghanistan unless one of our children were in the armed forces. So what they do in DC very rarely affects us, day to day.
Well, we know that because the money that's coming from DC don't even make it to us. By the time Duggan get his hands on it, it goes away. But this is what I'm saying. We know that there will be a low voter turnout. My concern is this. So you have several incumbents who are not running in the they don't have a primary race. So we lost a lot of momentum around that, especially for those of us running citywide. We're spending so much time educating people. Look, your ballot gonna look like this. I always have to tell people I'm not running against your district person. Okay, I am running at large. This is why you only see that. And that's where that newsletter from the clerk's office really would have been valuable, is explaining to people how their ballots are going to look different, right? So we're educating at the same time, then also talking about our platform. But I'm telling you, if we get 15% to turn out, we lucky. And then this is all intentional, right? This is all by design. But I need people to understand one thing about the point you just pointed out about this mayoral election. Listen, people, Duggan more than likely is going to have the vast majority of the votes because it's him against 13 other people running in the race, right? And then let me tell you what else I find interesting. On this survey, listen to the question they asked, and caller, we're going to get to you in 1 second. Listen to the question that they asked in this survey yesterday. It says, would you be more likely to support Anthony Adams, Tom Barrow, Art Tyus, or others? Well, of course, they said Mike Duggan. They put Art Tyus' name in there. That Art Tyus, let me tell you, I don't know what kind of street team he have, but them doggone little itty bitty flag signs that you see all around here, them jokers everywhere, okay? They everywhere in every district. I don't think Art Tyus spent money on nothing else but a street team. That's what I think. I bet you when we see his campaign finance, it's just gonna be yard signs and a street team. But
spend money on learning the issues, because when he speaks, when you
Well,
have
he doesn't show up to a lot. Now I'm gonna say that about our. He rarely comes to the candidate forums or anything.
very
But
few that you've seen him, he was dumb as a box of rocks. But okay.
But listen to this. So Duggan has identified that he may get some votes that will pull away from him, right? Because of all of the name identity that he's trying to build. But he's already identified Anthony Adams, Tom Barrow, Art Tyus. He already know that those will be his top challengers. But even with that said, so say it's Duggan against 3 other candidates. I want our people to understand how this works. More than likely, he will be the one to get the majority of the votes, and the other person advancing through the primary with him will not have a significant number of votes because they're literally splitting them amongst 2 other people. Really another 13, well, another 12. But I want people to understand that. So don't be frustrated or feel, defeated. Well, Duggan had so many more votes. That's the way it's going to look. That's the way that it works.
Yeah.
Right. And we have to start talking to our people about this beforehand instead of on the back end, because they're going to feel like, oh, you're just trying to make up an excuse. I'm telling you what's going to happen, people. Now, another thing, and then call our promise right after this. I'm going to get to you. Another thing we need to pay attention to is, so I guess they're knocking on doors for Mike Duggan. And so according to someone that told me that they came to their door, a friend of theirs door, they told the person trying to get a vote for Mike Duggan and get the yard sign. They said absolutely not. He didn't have 8 years and he didn't do X, blah, 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 blah. And the young lady said, I've been getting this all day. I have not seen Mike Duggan signs out like I used to in people's houses on their lawns. Okay, because by now we 22 days away from the election. And Mike will flood this whole city, and especially in the impoverished areas. I don't see him over there strong in District 4 no more. Because I've been riding around there and I've been walking the neighborhoods. I do not see him. So there's an opportunity for us to have change on council and to have change, right? But I do think we're going to have a low voter turnout. I do want to know what's going to change in the clerk's office for this general election as far as voter education, because that's really important, because the majority of it is falling on us. And I don't see us seeing a strong momentum built in the general election for these candidates who are running unopposed. I still don't see them getting out here educating, because they're going to be on the ballot for the general election. So it's still going to be up to the rest of us to build this momentum to get people to turn out. Like, we have to think about that.
And that's what has to happen. First of all, Duggan has been talking about the neighborhoods. This is 3rd election, and the neighborhoods are worse, period. So why is he in conversation? Those that are not just idly going to follow this need to be expanding the base. That is your job. Your job is not to agree with us. Your job is to say, Mike Duggan isn't our guy. Let's get him out. And who are we all going to get behind? One person. And
that's the part. When are we going to get behind one person, though, after the general? Listen, whoever advances through that primary, they need to have a press conference with the other people standing with them by the 5th. If the election is on the 3rd, that press conference needs to happen by the 5th of August. And I'm saying it here and right now. If the goal is to get rid of Mike Duggan because that this city deserves better, then everybody need to rally behind that other person. Okay, period. Hold on, let's take a caller. Good morning. Thank you so much for being on hold. You have a question or comment? Hello? Hello, caller?
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. This is William Davis.
Hey, Bill.
I've been driving all over District 7.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen one Mike Duggan sign. One Mike Duggan sign. 4 years ago, when I was running for police commissioner, I seen quite a few Mike Duggan signs, but I only seen one Mike Duggan sign. And I think the people of Detroit, as a former employee at the Wastewater Treatment Plant, need to point out the fact that we need an accounting of over 300. I'm not going to raise this a little earlier, of over $300 million, $50 million a year since 2014, supposed to be going to improve water infrastructure. But yet, it's worse today than before they sold the water department.
Mm-hmm.
We need county. We need to know what they spend money for and who is getting that money. And why is the service worse today than it was before the bankruptcy?
But they don't hear that because all they see is him coming around smiling and telling them that, oh, we don't have the money. You had, what's his name, Tucson Knight. He on a call running in District 4. And I don't care because I'm just going to call this right on out. From my understanding, I've done my research too. And it's going to cost $17 or $72 billion, something crazy, to fix this problem. So we don't have the money. And I'm sitting there thinking that you on the phone with people who houses smell like horse manure stacked up to the ceiling. And this is what you're going to tell them. But you know, he a huge supporter of Duggan. He used to work for him. He's still advocating for him right now. All right. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. But listen, look at all the money that we didn't invest in, and you haven't fixed any of the problem. Who said that you have to fix the whole problem at once? It's been 8 years going on. So you mean to tell me they haven't had any money to be able to at least fix District 4? I don't believe that. And I agree with you, Bill.
And Bill can tell you it's the big problem. It rains every inch. Those canals over
in Chicago was flooded for days. That never happened, before the bankruptcy. Schaefer in Chicago was flooded. They stayed flooded for over 12 hours. That's unheard of.
Wow.
94 was flooded for 2 weeks. That's unheard of.
And it was only on the Detroit side. See, people hear us talk about freeways. They don't understand. It was when you get to Detroit that it was flooded and shut down for 2 weeks. It wasn't, once you passed, it stopped at Dearborn. You had to get off the exit at Dearborn at the Wyoming exit. Because from the Detroit on down, it was flooded for 2 weeks. I agree. I agree.
The Great Lakes Water Authority don't care about Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And who's our representative of the Great Lakes Water Authority? Gary Brown.
Gary Brown should have been he should have been terminated. He should have been forced to resign that Saturday. At the latest.
Absolutely.
At the latest.
He should never have had the job.
No, he never should have had the job, because I'm gonna tell you, if Duggan was the mayor of Livonia, Novi, Royal Oak, he never would have put in a ex-police officer to manage to direct such a complex water system. It just never would have happened. But you know what? He said, what'd you say?
McCormick over the water department. She needs to go. Right. She's been around. Yeah. She needs to go.
She need to go too, but it just wouldn't have happened. It just show you how little they value Detroiters and our quality of life. But you know what? If we keep electing these people in, then we gonna show that, you know what, the majority of us, not all of us, but the majority of us think our tolerance exceeds our standards. I keep saying it. So that's the problem. All right, Bill, thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Go ahead, brother.
We have to care more for ourselves. I don't care if we keep electing different people every time there's an election.
Me either.
Don't come in here with this mess. That's what used to happen. And this is the thing. When we fight, we win every time. They got us out for Joe Biden. When we didn't really care, we got Trump. But once we was like, oh no, then we got Joe Biden. So
here's the thing. But wait a minute. Let's talk about why that is. Because there was a concerted effort to flood your phone, your mailboxes, and also TV commercials, mainstream media, with information of why you shouldn't vote for Trump. That is not the same effort around people exposing Duggan for what he has done or any of this other failed leadership on city council. It's just not happening. And so here lies the problem. So we have to figure out a way, whether or not we have to protest the media or whatever we have to do. We have to get this word out. And I said this before for the last couple of months. Where are these same national organizations that wanted to worry the stew out of us about this Trump election and the support of Biden? Why they not out here doing any work to help us expose Duggan? That's their job.
I want to talk
about their job. And you need to pay attention. Wait a minute. We need to pay attention to the people who endorsing Mike Duggan and endorsing all of the people that he want on council. Look, it ain't no secret. Duggan wants him. He want to keep Janae. He want Coleman. He wants Scott Benson. He wants Roy McAllister. He wants Spivey. He want to keep them all. He want to keep them all. Well, and that's just the way that it is.
Those folks that ain't running that you just spoke about, house got raided by the FBI a few weeks back, so that's why he's not running. Yesterday.
Oh, Spivey, you mean Scott running?
Yep. And it's
Spivey. You know, it's gonna take more to scare him.
If you in the 3rd district, while Detroiters talk about being Detroiters so much, this Scott Benson is not a Detroiter. He was out there drunk driving. He could have killed any one of us or our children or grandchildren. District 3 has the highest crime rate, has had the highest crime rate, and going up fast. Why do they keep voting for this guy? And then he always votes against the people, unapologetically votes against the people. You know why? Because the people in 48205 all over there in 3rd district are scared to vote. They got one of the lowest voting districts in this city. And what you're going to have to understand is you are sitting there allowing this crap. That's why 48205, that whole district over there, is not growing. It's because of Scott Benson in the way. And you got to do whatever to get him out of there. Out of there.
Well, again, we only have a write-in, and this election is the first time. You know, it's amazing how Mike Duggan was able to run as a write-in in the primary election, but now we have, out of all of these write-in candidates, not one of them are able to get on a primary as a write-in, so their name can be on the ballot for the general. I don't understand that either. But Brenda, we only got like 3 more. We only got 2 more minutes. You said you got a show tonight. What time is it?
Well, I want to say I posted that I have a new show. Brenda. No, it's called Unfiltered. Brenda Tell the Queen Bee. It's on. And you'll know what B stands for.
We know.
Yes, but it's unfiltered, honey. You know?
Okay. What time?
9 p.m. to 11 p.m. But I posted that on my Facebook page last night. Guess who was one of the first people to say they want to be on my show?
Who?
The one who said.
Oh, now let me tell you something about that Tucson. He don't care. He don't care. He'll show up. He don't care if you talked about him and he running. He say he running in.
He's the one who said that he turned his pit bulls on me and turned.
No, he said no. What he said was, if it would have been him, he would have turned on his whole sprinkler system and turned the pit bulls on all of y'all out there, which were 99% Black women. That's what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Well, let him come on and ask him about it.
Oh, honey.
Let him come on and ask him about that.
You already know. But we're gonna have to get out of this plantation mentality. We're gonna have to decide that we're ready to go. We're ready to leave. We want Harriet Tubman and everybody to get us out of here. And this is how we do it. We're gonna have street momentum. We're gonna have to put our money up. There are people out here buying signs for Proposal P out of their own pockets, buying to raise money out of their own pockets. This is how we change things. Like I said, I don't have a dime I can spare, but I got money for this because it has to happen, else my future is dark and dead. And that's not how I want to live here in this city. And this is what we have to do. If you don't have a dime, you make sure your people vote differently. Duggan is afraid. We got him on the ropes. We got to keep him on the ropes. He shouldn't even be in the top 2. It's so bad in these streets right now. If nothing else, if you loved everything he did,
They need to understand what a win for Proposal P will mean as well. This truly is, it's the people's charter. It is a win for the people. And to see people who might be diametrically opposed politically or on candidates and other issues come together and say no more. First of all, the fact that they are using people who look like us just to lie in order to support an agenda that will do nothing but keep us oppressed. You know, to see the people come out and be so consistent, you know, about this. No, we are not taking this anymore. This speaks volumes. This speaks volumes. So let's make sure that we get people out to come and get some of these signs. Like I said, we're getting a U-Haul so we can put them at different locations throughout each district. And then we'll have more literature. We have yard signs. So now what we need you to do is not to buy them. We need you to help us distribute them. So I'll be posting that information of where you can get them today. And we'll go from there. But I got to hop off because I have another call right now. I appreciate you so much for coming on, Brenda.
Morning, everybody.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock.